The world was dying, and no one had seen it coming. For years, humanity had fought in silence, hoping the stars would never notice. Yet, as the skies darkened and the air filled with a bitter metallic scent, it became clear. Earth wasn't just under threat. Earth was about to be erased from existence. The Galactic Armada, an empire that had crushed countless civilizations, was finally at Earth's door. They didn't come to negotiate. They didn't come to reason. They came to wipe humanity from the stars, as if they were nothing more than a passing nuisance. And this time, they would succeed. In the midst of chaos, Captain Elena Drake stood at the command console, her fingers running over the cool metal of the panel as she watched the final countdown flash across the screen. Behind her, the vast expanse of Earth's once proud cities flickered with explosions. Her ship, Pride of Earth, had survived the initial bombardment, but it was becoming clear. There would be no victory. There was no reinforcements coming. She watched in silence as the massive fleet of alien warships filled the sky. The Armada's flagship loomed overhead, a black mass that seemed to devour the very light around it. A harsh voice crackled over the intercom, its mechanical timbre colder than ice. "This is the Galactic Armada. Surrender your forces immediately or face total annihilation. Earth's time has come." The words hung in the air, heavy and final. Elena glanced at her crew, a group of battle-hardened men and women, all of them resolute in the face of extinction. Yet even their hearts were weighed down with the crushing knowledge that no defense, no matter how advanced, could match the sheer overwhelming power of the Armada. Beside her, Lieutenant Marcus Green, a former Marine turned tactical officer, glanced at the monitors in disbelief. "Their numbers are immeasurable, Captain. They've got the entire planet surrounded. We're out of options." Her eyes narrowed as she watched the alien ships deploy their doomsday weapons. Massive beams of energy fired from their hulls, ripping through the atmosphere and into Earth's surface. Whole cities disappeared in a flash of light. "I won't let them have it all." Elena's voice was low, but fierce. She wasn't going to let Earth die quietly. Not like this. The warship's weapon systems powered up. The countdown continued. She had one chance, one shot at survival, but no one had prepared for the worst-case scenario. There was no plan B. Her mind raced as she weighed the risks. The fleet she commanded, what was left of it, had enough firepower to hold the line for a while longer. The truth was undeniable, though. This was humanity's last stand. The Armada's fleet, filled with thousands of ships, would outlast them. They would be outnumbered and overpowered. The hope of salvation had long since faded. And then, the impossible happened. The ground beneath Elena's feet trembled as a massive, thunderous rumble echoed through the ship. The vibration wasn't from the alien weaponry. It came from beneath. She turned to Marcus, eyes wide with disbelief. "Captain, what is?" Before he could finish, the entire ship shook violently, knocking everyone off their feet. The lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. In the command center, Elena steadied herself, grabbing onto the railing. "What was that?" "Something's rising from the surface," Marcus muttered, his voice thick with awe and fear. As the alarms blared and the crew scrambled to regain control, the ship's screens suddenly flickered back on, showing a view of Earth's surface. But it wasn't the burning cities they saw now. Instead, a massive structure, an impossibly large ship, more enormous than anything they had ever encountered, rose from beneath the Earth's crust. The hull gleamed with a strange, otherworldly light. Elena's heart skipped a beat. No, it's impossible. But the image didn't lie. Out of the ashes of Earth's final hour, a new weapon had awakened. A weapon unlike any the Armada had ever seen. Something ancient. Something they could never have anticipated. Humanity wasn't done yet. The Earth was not dead. At least, not yet. Beneath the charred remains of cities and scorched landscapes, something ancient and forgotten had stirred. Something the Galactic Armada was about to learn the hard way. Captain Elena Drake gripped the armrest of her chair as the ship's hull trembled again, this time from something much more ominous than enemy fire. The shock waves rocked the Pride of Earth, but this time there was no panic, only the steady hum of an awakening power. The massive structure now rising from the planet's surface had caught the attention of the Armada. But it wasn't just any ship. The colossal dreadnought emerging from the depths was a ghost from a forgotten age, long hidden beneath the Earth's surface. And it was coming online. Elena turned to her lieutenant, her voice barely above a whisper. "Activate the comms. All remaining fleets, rally to this position." She didn't need to say more. The battle was no longer about holding the line. It was about surviving long enough for Earth's ancient weapon to reveal itself. As the dreadnought slowly lifted from the Earth's surface, the skies darkened even more. A low hum resonated across the battlefield, followed by a burst of energy that crackled and surged from the ship's core. Elena watched as the ship's systems powered up, its immense engines igniting with a force that sent shockwaves through the atmosphere. "We're picking up strange readings, Captain," Marcus said, his fingers flying over the control panel. "Energy levels are off the charts. The ship's core it's ancient, but operational. We've never seen anything like this." Elena didn't need to hear more. She'd read the reports of the classified archives. The dreadnoughts had been designed long before Earth fell to the Armada's predecessors. They were meant for a time like this, when humanity's survival would be at risk, and the galaxy's most terrifying empire would stand poised to erase them. They never thought we'd come back. Elena's eyes hardened. But we did. The pride of Earth shook again as another wave of energy radiated from the dreadnought's hull, turning the battlefield into a sea of brilliant light. Alien ships immediately scattered, their weapons frantically firing as they realized the true scale of the threat. But it was too late. The immense dreadnought fired back. "Targeting system online," Marcus reported. "Weapons locked and ready." Elena's gaze narrowed as the massive ship in orbit unleashed its devastating power. The energy beams tore through the Armada's fleet like a hot knife through butter, disintegrating enemy vessels in seconds. She had no time to savor the victory. The Armada was relentless, and even now they were regrouping for a counterattack. "Prepare for impact," Elena barked. "We need to get that fleet out of here now." Full speed ahead. As the pride of Earth lurched forward, Elena caught sight of the growing devastation around her. The dreadnought was systematically tearing apart the Armada's forces, its massive weapons capable of leveling entire fleets in moments. But for all its power, the dreadnought was not indestructible. Elena could feel the tension in the air. The fight was far from over. "This is just beginning," she muttered, watching as alien ships regrouped, their dark shapes lingering ominously in the distance. The battle was shifting in Earth's favor, but the Armada was a creature that would not easily be killed. And Elena knew the worst was yet to come. "Captain, more ships incoming," Marcus warned. "They're sending in reinforcements, larger vessels." The dreadnought's laser cannons fired again, tearing into the incoming ships, but the reinforcement fleet was immense. The Armada was pulling out its last cards, sending in colossal, heavily shielded warships that could withstand the dreadnought's initial assault. "We can't hold them off forever." Elena's voice was steady, but her mind raced. "Get me every last remaining ship we have, now." As the fleet rallied around the dreadnought, a new, unsettling realization set in. The Armada's reinforcements weren't just bigger, they were more strategic. The Armada wasn't about to fall back. They were regrouping, preparing for the final push to destroy Earth's last hope. It was clear now. Earth had no choice but to fight. There would be no more negotiations, no more surrender. The time for Earth's revenge had come. With the dreadnought continuing its assault, Elena's heart pounded in her chest as she witnessed a massive flagship at the head of the approaching reinforcements. The ship was unlike anything she had seen before, its dark silhouette looming ominously, massive energy cannons mounted on every surface. "This isn't just another ship," Marcus said, his voice tight with concern. "That's their command vessel. It's going to take everything we have to stop it." Elena glanced toward the distant horizon, her resolve hardening. "Then we'll give it everything we've got." The final battle for Earth was about to begin. It wasn't just a ship, it was humanity's last breath. And it was angry. The ancient dreadnought, its colossal form now fully emerged from the Earth's depths, continued to glow with an otherworldly light. As the alien fleets gathered for their final assault, humanity's salvation, long thought to be nothing more than a myth, had awoken. The stars themselves seemed to tremble in its wake. Captain Elena Drake stood at the helm of the Pride of Earth, her eyes locked on the massive energy readings streaming across her display. The Dreadnought had already destroyed dozens of alien ships, its firepower unmatched by anything the Armada had in their arsenal. But this was only the beginning. The energy surging through the Dreadnought's core was more than just a weapon. It was a key, unlocking something far older, far more powerful than any human had ever dreamed. The ship was not just designed to fight, it was a gateway to an ancient power, hidden away for a time when Earth would face extinction. Captain, we've detected a strange anomaly in the energy patterns, Marcus Green, her tactical officer, reported, his voice filled with unease. It's shifting, almost like the ship's core is evolving. Elena's grip tightened around the controls. What are you saying? I'm not sure, Marcus replied. But it's growing stronger, Captain. The ship's not just reacting, it's adapting. The Dreadnought's massive engines hummed, and then, for the first time since it had been awakened, it moved, slowly, like a titan rising from the earth. The ground below them vibrated, and the air filled with an electric tension, as if the planet itself had been brought to life. Elena, we're not just controlling this ship, Marcus said, his voice low, filled with awe. It's controlling us. The scene unfolding before Elena was something out of a dream. The Armada's reinforcements were moving in massive warships, their dark hulls bristling with energy weapons. But as they approached, the Dreadnought's massive guns powered up, and the ground shook once more. This time, it wasn't just the ship, it was Earth itself, resonating with an ancient power. The sky above them rippled, as if the very fabric of reality was bending to the Dreadnought's will. Energy beams lashed out, vaporizing alien warships in a flash of light. The Armada's response was immediate. Shields flared, ships scattered, but the destruction was relentless. The Dreadnought's energy didn't just target ships. It carved paths through space itself, opening rifts where no light had ever reached. Elena watched in silence, feeling the weight of the power now at her command. The universe had never seen anything like this. The Armada had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt, to survive. But they would learn quickly. We need to push them back now, Elena said, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Activate all remaining weapons. Engage every ship in fleet. We cannot let them regroup. Marcus turned to his console, a grim look on his face. Captain, the Dreadnought's energy is consuming our fleet's power. We don't have enough to keep fighting at this rate. Elena's eyes narrowed. Then we fight with what we have. The fleet surged forward, following the Dreadnought's lead. They would no longer run. They would no longer hide. This was Earth's moment, and they would take it, no matter the cost. As the battle raged on, Elena's heart began to race. The Dreadnought had shifted again, its core now glowing with a brilliant, almost blinding light. Then, suddenly everything stopped. The energy output from the Dreadnought surged beyond any conceivable limit. The Armada's ships faltered, unable to comprehend the scale of the power now unleashed. In that moment of stillness, Elena realized this wasn't just a ship. It was something more. And whatever it was far beyond anything Earth had ever known. The question remained. Would it be enough to turn the tide of the war, or would humanity's desperate gamble end in total annihilation? The answer would come soon. The truth was buried, and it had been waiting for this moment. The Dreadnought wasn't just humanity's weapon, it was humanity's legacy. Elena Drake stood at the observation deck of the Pride of Earth, watching the war unfold below. The Dreadnought was more than a ship now. It was a force of nature, tearing through the Armada with every pulse of energy it unleashed. But the question gnawed at her. Why now? Why had this ancient weapon awoken when Earth was on the brink of extinction? A voice broke through her thoughts. Captain, you need to see this. She turned to Marcus Green, who had a grave look on his face as he gestured toward the console. It's not just the Dreadnought. There's something else coming through the system. Something old. Elena's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean, old?" "Captain, there's a transmission," Marcus said, his voice heavy with disbelief. "A signal from the Dreadnoughts core. It's coming through at a frequency that doesn't belong to anything we've encountered before. And it's not just a message. It's a map." "A map to what?" Elena asked, stepping closer to the screen. Marcus didn't answer immediately. His fingers danced over the controls as the map began to take shape. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she saw the coordinates. It wasn't just a map of Earth. It was a map of the galaxy, and the path it outlined led to something hidden deep in the heart of the Milky Way, a place that no one had thought to look. Elena's eyes widened. "That's impossible. That's our map." The realization hit her like a sledgehammer. The Dreadnought wasn't just an artifact of war. It was a relic of an Earth long forgotten. A time before the fall of the ancient Terran Empire, when humanity had once ruled the stars. The archives had spoken of it in hushed tones, but no one had truly believed the stories of an ancient Earth civilization that had achieved godlike powers. Elena had always thought them to be myth, a part of humanity's glorious past, nothing more. But the map before her wasn't a myth. It was a record of humanity's journey to the stars, to the places they had conquered, and to the ancient secrets they had left behind. The Dreadnought was more than a weapon. It was humanity's key to returning to that lost legacy. Marcus's voice broke through her thoughts. "Captain, there's more." Elena turned to see the data expanding on the screen. The transmission wasn't just a map. It was a coded message, buried in layers of encryption that Marcus was now slowly unraveling. Each piece of the code revealed more about the Dreadnought and its true purpose. "It says," Marcus began, his voice growing more somber, "that the Dreadnoughts were built for a time when Earth's enemies would rise again. But it also says something else. It says that humanity, once rulers of the galaxy, were betrayed by their own." Elena's pulse quickened. "Betrayed by whom?" "The highest council of the Terran Empire," Marcus said, shaking his head. "The very ones who created the Dreadnoughts and sent them into hiding. The message says that humanity's fall wasn't a result of war or invasion. It was orchestrated. And it was meant to be." Elena's mind raced. "Why? Why would they want to destroy us?" "I don't know," Marcus replied. "But it says the truth was hidden. The fleet was scattered, and the legacy was erased from history." The weight of the revelation hit Elena like a tidal wave. For all the victories of Earth, for all the strength they had shown in their fight for survival, the truth remained hidden from them. The destruction of humanity hadn't been a failure of strength. It had been a calculated act, engineered by those who were supposed to protect them. Elena felt a shift inside her. The Dreadnought, this weapon of unimaginable power, wasn't just the last hope of humanity. It was a sign that the past was not lost. Humanity had been betrayed, but the key to reclaiming their destiny had always been buried beneath their feet, waiting to be uncovered. The Armada had no idea what it had unleashed. They thought they were eradicating a primitive species. They thought Earth was just another step in their conquest of the galaxy. But they were wrong. The Dreadnought wasn't a weapon of war. It was a symbol of humanity's true potential. And Earth's battle for survival had just turned into something far more dangerous for the Armada. Elena turned to Marcus. "Prepare the fleet. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for revenge." As the revelation settled over Elena and her crew, the Dreadnought powered up again, its core glowing brighter than ever. The Armada's forces, unaware of the true power they were about to face, closed in on Earth's last line of defense. But this time, the tables had turned. Elena's fingers hovered over the command panel. "We're not just defending Earth. We're going to take the fight to them." As the Dreadnought's weapons powered up, a deep rumbling shook the ship. Earth's final assault had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. The final battle had begun, and the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Earth's ancient weapon was ready, and so was humanity. The Dreadnought, now fully operational, loomed above Earth's atmosphere like an avenging titan. Its energy signature was unlike anything the Armada had ever encountered, and the massive warship's power coursed through the planet's veins, ready to strike. Elena Drake watched from the command deck of the Pride of Earth as the fleet prepared for their last stand. "Captain, the Armada is coming in fast," Marcus Green reported, his voice tight with urgency. "Their reinforcements are massive. If we don't engage them now, we'll be overrun." Elena's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the vast expanse of space on the holoscreen. The Armada's flagship, its colossal form dwarfing the surrounding fleet, was leading the charge. Thousands of alien ships surrounded Earth, but this time, things were different. This time, Earth had a weapon they couldn't even fathom. "Open fire," Elena ordered, her voice cold and commanding. "Deploy the Dreadnoughts' full firepower. We fight to win." The energy cannons on the Dreadnought powered up, their massive barrels glowing with a brilliant blue light. For a moment, the entire galaxy seemed to pause as the ship's core surged, ready to unleash its devastating energy. Elena's breath hitched. This was it. The first blast fired, a blinding pulse of energy that ripped through the Armada's lines, sending shockwaves through space. Ships exploded in clouds of fire and debris, their remains floating aimlessly in the vast emptiness. The Dreadnought's firepower was unparalleled, and as it continued its barrage, the Armada's fleet began to falter. "Direct hit on their lead vessel," Marcus shouted as he watched the readouts. "They're losing formation. Captain, they're pulling back." Elena's hands tightened on the controls, but she didn't let up. The Dreadnought was still only beginning to show its full power. This was their chance, not just to survive, but to strike back with a vengeance. The humans had been crushed for so long, but now, with their ancient weapon at their disposal, they were reclaiming their place in the galaxy. "Get me every ship we have," Elena commanded. "No one retreats. We finish this here and now." The remaining fleet surged forward, joining the Dreadnought in a coordinated attack that sent the Armada scrambling. For the first time since the beginning of the war, the invaders found themselves on the defensive. The tides of battle were shifting, but the Armada wasn't finished yet. As the conflict raged on, Elena saw the Armada's ultimate weapon approach, a colossal warship, even larger than their flagship, brimming with energy. It was a ship designed to withstand everything the galaxy had to throw at it. But even this massive beast couldn't stand against the combined might of Earth's Dreadnought and its fleet. "Target their engines," Elena ordered, her voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around her. "If we take out their propulsion, we'll cripple them." Marcus set to work, tapping at the controls with rapid precision. The Dreadnought fired again, a concentrated blast aimed directly at the heart of the Armada's final weapon. The ship's shields flared briefly before collapsing under the intense pressure. The blast hit, and the massive alien warship erupted in a brilliant explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through space. For a moment, silence reigned. "We've done it," Marcus breathed, staring at the shattered remains of the Armada's flagship. But Elena wasn't done yet. The fight had taken too much from them, and she knew the Armada would not let go so easily. Another fleet, larger and more dangerous than the last, was already preparing to enter the battlefield. Elena's heart pounded in her chest as she saw the new fleet approach, a final, desperate counteroffensive. The Armada was regrouping, drawing on everything they had left to crush Earth's resurgence. And in the center of it all stood their leader, a being whose presence alone seemed to radiate terror. "Captain," Marcus said, his voice filled with dread, "they've brought in their ultimate weapon. This is it. If we don't act now, it's over." Elena gazed out at the vast expanse of space, knowing that the final chapter of humanity's struggle was about to unfold. The Dreadnought was their last hope. She had no choice but to lead her fleet into the final clash. "Ready the Dreadnought," she said, her voice steady but full of resolve. "We end this, one way or another." The Armada's true power was about to be revealed, and Earth's fate would be sealed in the moments to come. It was no longer a battle for survival. It was a war for supremacy, and Earth was ready to reclaim its throne. The Dreadnought, the last remnant of humanity's ancient empire, loomed over the battlefield like a vengeful god. Its power surged with every heartbeat, its core pulsing with unimaginable energy. The Armada had underestimated Earth, And now they were about to learn the hard way. Humanity was not a race to be trifled with. Elena Drake stood at the command deck of the Pride of Earth, her eyes fixed on the screen displaying the approaching Armada fleet. The battle had raged for hours, the air thick with the stench of burning debris and the sound of clashing metal. But now, as Earth's dreadnought prepared to unleash its final blow, the tide had turned. "We've broken their front lines, Captain," Marcus Green reported, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. "But they're not giving up. Their reinforcements are massive." Elena's grip tightened on the console. The Armada had thrown everything they had at Earth, and yet they hadn't broken their will. The dreadnought had torn through their fleets, but the final push would be the hardest. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her. This was the last chance for Earth to stand tall. "Activate the final protocol," Elena commanded, her voice low but resolute. "We need everything the dreadnought has left." The dreadnought's engines roared to life as Elena's orders were carried out. The energy from its core flared brighter than ever, lighting up the space around them like a second sun. For a moment, the entire galaxy seemed to pause, as if it too held its breath in anticipation. The Armada, regrouping after their losses, had sent in their ultimate weapon, their command vessel, a behemoth that dwarfed everything in its path. But Elena knew it wouldn't be enough. The dreadnought's power had grown beyond their understanding, and with one final burst of energy, Earth's forces would deliver the blow that would end this war once and for all. "Target their command vessel," Elena ordered. "Make sure they feel every ounce of our strength." The dreadnought's weapons charged, the energy building to an almost unbearable level. Then, with a deafening roar, the massive ship released a concentrated beam of energy that cut through space like a knife through flesh. The beam tore into the Armada's flagship, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The explosion was deafening. The command ship disintegrated in a flash of light, its debris scattering in every direction. For a moment, everything stood still. The remaining ships of the Armada hesitated, their will to fight shattered by the destruction of their leader. "They've lost their will to fight," Marcus said, his voice almost in disbelief. "The Armada's broken." Elena's heart pounded in her chest. They had done it. Earth had won. The remaining alien forces scattered, their once formidable fleets, now reduced to shattered remnants. Earth's dreadnought, though battered and scarred, remained unscathed at its core, its engines still burning with unyielding fury. Elena stood at the helm, her hands still gripping the controls as the final pieces of the Armada fell apart. But even as the victory sank in, Elena knew the war was far from over. The galaxy had seen Earth's strength, and they wouldn't forget it. The dreadnought wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol of humanity's rebirth. The universe would soon learn that Earth, once written off as a dying world, had become a force to be reckoned with. "Captain, the fleet is hailing us," Marcus said, breaking through her thoughts. Elena turned to face the screen, where the remaining human ships hovered, their crews waiting for her orders. A deep sense of pride swelled within her chest. They had fought against impossible odds and emerged victorious. And now Earth was free to rise. "We've shown them what humanity is capable of," Elena said, her voice steady with the weight of the moment. "Now, let's make sure the galaxy never forgets." As the last remnants of the Armada retreated into the far reaches of space, Elena's eyes turned to the stars. The dreadnought still hummed with energy, and Earth's forces were stronger than ever. But something lingered in the back of her mind, a question, an unspoken uncertainty. The war was over, but the universe had just witnessed Earth's rebirth. And Elena knew that what came next would shape humanity's future forever. The question remained, would Earth become a force for good, or would they unleash something far darker in the years to come? The answers lay in the stars.